All right, guys, can we start the session? Am I audible to all of you? Is the voice loud and clear? Can you just confirm me? Okay. All right, Sandhya, Shweta, Abhinav. All right. Okay. So, guys, there is no issue with the voice or the screen. So let's get started. But what we'll do is we'll take 5 minutes as usual. We'll wait for some more participants. And in the meantime, we can have a discussion on the previous sessions. Whatever questions you have, you can discuss. Or in case if you want to discuss something other than that also, I'll unmute one by one. Let me stop the recording and then we will do that. Just 1 minute, guys. Let me stop it. Okay. Now, can we continue with the session? Today's session. So guys, today we will focus on handling questions related to sustainable development and environmental governance. So they will ask you questions from sustainable development and related to environmental governance also. So let's get prepared for that area. So we are not leaving anything for chances. We are trying to identify all the possible areas from which they are asking questions, and we'll try to find out a structure for each of these. So these topics are increasingly, important in UPSC interview. And see, you think from a civil servant perspective, you must ensure that, economic development is balanced with the protection of the environment. So definitely they will be asking you these questions to understand, your knowledge about it, right? And your knowledge and the way you analyze things and everything they want to know. So questions about sustainable development address, or they want to check, they want to assess how well you understand the challenges of environmental degradation, climate change, and resource management. And I don't think that you will be facing much problem in answering these questions. Only thing is that we need to structure it in the demand of interview. You already have studied this in detail in prelims and then again in mains, as it is very common in both prelims and mains, and you might have studied the environment book completely. But still here, now an interview is entirely different. They are looking for certain qualities, and that's exactly what they are trying to check from different questions that they're asking. So see, in my interviews also, I was asked about how I would address issues like deforestation. That point of time, these were the questions, and pollution, climate change, while ensuring that the development goals are still met. Okay, so it's very essential to show that you can think critically about these issues and propose solutions that benefit both the economy and environment. So you should be a person who can bring a balance between growth and development, or sorry, growth and sustainable development. Growth quantitative in number, development qualitative. So growth, development, environment is what sustainable development. That is what we need. We don't want growth alone, right? Development means without growth also development can be there. That is social well-being if government keeps spending, but long term it is not going to work out. So growth is required, development is required. Now, when you achieve growth and development, how about environment? Environment is also need to be protected. So a balance is required, right? Between this. That's what sustainable development. That can sustain a long period of time. So you need to have that understanding also. So let's get started. Let's move on to the slide. Okay, now coming to the main slide, that is a key concepts in sustainable development and environmental governance. Okay, see guys, sustainable development is about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So we need to meet our needs. At the same time, you are not compromising your children, your grandchildren, means your future also. So your future generation. So environmental governance basically ensures that development policies are aligned with the long-term health of ecosystem and natural resources. So some of the key concepts is what you can see here. First is balancing economic growth and environmental protection. So one of the biggest challenge in sustainable development is balancing economic growth with environmental preservation. So civil servants must ensure that development projects do not harm environment or lead to any unsustainable use of resources. So that's your priority, one of the priorities. So you need to understand and talk about that. Climate change mitigation. Now, when it comes to addressing climate change is actually a major governance challenge, especially in developing countries like India. Now, mitigating climate change requires different policies that reduce carbon emission, promote renewable energy, and increase resilience to climate impacts like floods and droughts. Okay. Now, resource conservation. Conserving natural resources like water, forest, biodiversity is critical for long-term sustainability. So civil servants need to ensure that resource management policies prevent overexploitation and promote equitable access to natural resources. Now, coming to the role of public policy, public policy plays a crucial role in driving sustainable development. Policies that promote renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, waste management, and urban planning are essential for ensuring that development is environmentally sustainable. So you need to look at all these aspects. So once you have a good idea about this, then you will be able to answer. For example, if you're asked how to address deforestation while promoting economic development, what you can say? I'll give you a sample answer, what you can say or how you will proceed. See that you will go like this. The challenge of balancing economic development with forest conservation require policies that promote sustainable land use. Means here you're talking about balancing the economic growth. Now, coming to the next. You need to now tell, this include implementing a afforestation program, incentivizing sustainable forestry and promoting eco-friendly industries in forest region. So you are going to discuss about the role of public policy here. Now, what about IPS in the context of law enforcement? Let's think in that way also. Will this affect there when it comes to law enforcement? See, environmental governance might involve ensuring that regulations against illegal mining. So now you may think, I've given IPS as choice, the chances of getting environmental related questions, sustainable development question is very less. No, that's not the case. Firstly, they will ask you in general. Secondly, since it is IPS preference, they will ask you to know whether you also think in this dimension, like illegal mining, poaching, or pollution are something which are enforced effectively, right? That you need to check. For example, as an IPS officer, you might focus on preventing illegal logging, in protected areas and ensuring the local communities are involved in conservation efforts. So don't think that, see, there is no point in thinking about that. You need to prepare, whether you have given any preference, you need to prepare everything. And that is what I call as that 360-degree view that we are, looking at. We are here, what we are trying to do. We are going to prepare in a 360-degree view. So nothing is actually going to be missed, or we are not going to leave anything for chances. So guys, when answering questions about sustainable development, it's very important to show that you can balance environmental protection with economic goals. So this is a framework that you can use always. As you see, every potential question, we are talking about the structure, and keep that in mind so that things will be easy, and more or less these are overlapping. Right, proposed solution, long-term effect, and all these are ethical dimension. All these are analyzing impact, understanding the challenge. All these are almost common. So it's not that 50 topic is discussed, 50 structure is given. No, you will understand over a period of time, the 50 topics are discussed. All 50 have 5 to 6 structure basically. That is what you need to convey, correct? So again, I'm talking about the same. Why still again discussing separately is because to make you understand all these are converging. And this is what they're looking for from each of these type of questions from you. So first, what you need to do, identifying the environmental challenge. Normally, you identify the challenge. So you start by clearing or clearly defining the environmental issue, whether the issue is related to pollution or deforestation or climate change. And this will actually help the panel to understand the scope of the problem, that you understood the scope of the problem. Now they will be interested in listening to the solution because you set the context now. Now coming to the impact analysis of the impact or analyzing the impact. You explain how environmental challenges affect both ecological health and socio-economic development. For example, deforestation may lead to loss of biodiversity and affect the livelihoods of communities that depend on forest. Correct? So then you talk about the solutions. So you identify the problem, analyze the impact, and you talk about the solutions. So after analyzing the impact, offer the practical solutions. And these could include, keep these words in mind: implementing renewable projects, promoting sustainable agriculture, or enforcing stricter regulations on pollution, etc. Okay, this is directly something which you can use. Next is ensuring long-term sustainability. Finally, emphasize the importance of long-term sustainability. So this could involve creating policies that promote eco-friendly industries, reducing emissions, or conserving natural resources for future generations, etc. For example, if you are asked about managing pollution in a rapidly industrializing region, you can say the challenge in managing, I'll give you the answer, okay? So first, what you will do, identify the challenge. So first itself, you talk about the challenge, okay? And then talk about the impact, and then talk about the solution, and then talk about the sustainability, long-term sustainability. So let's identify the challenge now. So here you can say the challenge in managing pollution comes from rapid industrialization and weak enforcement of environmental regulations. So you identified the challenge. Now, what does this mean? You understood the case. Now they are more interested in listening to your answer because you set the context for them that you identified the challenge. Now what you're going to do is you analyze the impact. You can say, this, I'm giving my answer. It may not be the correct answer, right? For you, the impact may be different. Okay, so this lead to air and water pollution, which negatively affect public health and local agriculture. Now, guys, how you get all these answers? We will discuss. We'll do that. Okay, so don't worry that how in that moment, though I know all these and everything, but that moment it won't come to my mind. What to do? That we need to sit together. We will discuss that. Okay. That is why one-to-one sessions for personal questions and personally framing the answers. How the knowledge you have that you're going to put it into the framework that we are preparing. Okay. Now, even if you don't get the answer, do we have the structure? In the structure, I told you what to do. Why can't you answer with a broader framework if you don't know the answer? That is why I'm focusing on both. I'm giving you a broader framework in a case where you are not getting a specific answer. That broader framework you can use or make it more specific to the problem which is asked. That will be more interesting. In no case, you will be left out with no answer. Okay, so what next? I need to talk about the impact. So this lead to air and water pollution, which negatively affect public health and local agriculture. So I talked about the impact, negatively affect the public health and the local agriculture. Now I need the solution. So what I need to tell now, to address this, I would propose stricter enforcement of environmental laws, promoting cleaner technologies in industries, and incentivizing companies to reduce their carbon footprint. I did the solution, whatever it is. It's not necessary that you need to give the same solution because you may not get the same question, but we have a broader framework, right? So if you look at the framework itself, you got your answer. Okay. Now what? Finally, I need to talk about long-term sustainability. So I can say towards the end, any general answer you can say, or you can make it very specific also to the question. In case if you're not getting at that point of time, specific question, take a general one and fix it, okay? So long-term sustainability can be ensured by implementing green energy projects and creating policies that promote sustainable industrial practices. So you've done. So what I did, I got a question. What was the question? The question is about managing pollution in a rapidly industrializing region. So you set the context, identify the challenge, propose solution, right? And then sustainability, long-term sustainability. So the answer is something like this. First, the challenge, then impact, Solution, sustainability. So how I answered here, the challenge in managing pollution comes from rapid industrialization and weak enforcement of environmental regulation. This lead to air and water pollution, which negatively affect public health and local agriculture. To address this, I would propose stricter enforcement of environmental laws, promoting cleaner technologies in industries, and incentivizing companies to reduce their carbon footprint. Long-term sustainability can be ensured by implementing green energy projects and creating policies that promote sustainable industrial practices. How about this answer? In one of my interview, I was asked how I would promote sustainable agriculture in a drought-prone region. Now, think about it. Try to answer this question. Follow the same structure. So what I did is I explain. I'm not telling exactly the answer which I've done, just like what I've given the example that you can frame, or I give you the framework. I explained that I could, I would encourage farmers to adopt water saving technologies such as drip irrigation and promote the use of drought resistant crops to reduce water usages and increase resilience to climate change, etc. So this you can fit in to the structure which is given to you. Talk about the context means the challenge, the impact, the solution, sustainability. Try this answer. Okay. Moving on to the next, I can give you the context of IPS. Okay. So if you have given, IPS preference, maybe if they want to form a question, they can, chances are less, but still they can ask you questions. So when it comes to law enforcement, sustainable development intersect with environmental governance in several ways. I've already given an example. So as an IPS officer, you would be responsible for enforcing the environmental laws and protecting natural resources from illegal activities. So this is the key areas where law enforcement play a role in environmental governance. First one, you can see dealing with the environmental crimes. Illegal activities such as mining, poaching, deforestation, and pollution. These all pose significant threat to the environment, right? So law enforcement agencies must work to prevent these activities and hold offenders accountable. Very important. Now coming to enforcing environmental regulation. As an IPS officer, these are the points that you need to keep in mind, right? So dealing with environmental crimes, enforcing the regulation, ensuring public safety in climate vulnerable areas like that. So coming to enforcement or enforcing the environmental regulation, as an IPS officer, you would ensure that businesses and industries comply with environmental regulation. That's your responsibility. This includes preventing illegal dumping of waste, enforcing pollution control measures, and monitoring industrial emissions, etc. Okay, now coming to the third one, ensuring public safety in climate vulnerable areas. Very important, stress on this. So in areas which are prone to natural disasters like flood or drought, law enforcement plays a role in ensuring public safety by coordinating disaster response efforts and working with local authorities to mitigate the impact of climate-related events. Okay, 1 minute, guys. Now, coming to an example. If you're asked how you would address illegal mining in a forested area, you would say, my first priority would be to coordinate with the forest department and local communities to monitor illegal mining activities, which means first step, dealing with the environmental crimes. See, they're asking a general question actually. You are asked how you would address illegal mining in a forested area, right? So first you talk about if it is illegal means how you're dealing with the environmental crimes, right? So my first priority will be to coordinate with the forest department and local communities to monitor illegal mining activities, which is over there. And then I can talk about the enforcement part. So I would ensure that the police are trained in handling environmental crimes and that offenders are prosecuted under relevant environmental laws. Then additionally, I would work to raise public awareness about the importance of protecting forest and the long-term impact of illegal mining on local ecosystem. Don't you think this is a very good answer? This kind of question is asked to one of my friend also in his interview. He was asked how he will handle poaching in a national park, and he, I think, explained. No, you think about it. How you are going to answer? So he explained that he will increase surveillance in poaching hotspots, collaborate with wildlife conservation organizations, and engage in local communities in protecting wildlife through education and livelihood programs. Okay, so guys, now moving on to the next one. Guys, don't worry. Once we have the one-to-one sessions, I'll make it clear for everyone, because that is why we have the personalized session. Let's continue this. Let's understand the things in general, and let's move very specific with the one-to-one sessions. That's where we need to personalize the questions and we need to personalize the answer. Here, let's go and understand things in general and have an idea about these are the questions which are going to be asked. This is the structure and these are the elements that I need to highlight. Okay, so we need to have a very good idea. If you know the rules of the game, then only you can play the game. We are going to play the game only. We are not going to, we are going to, win that 20 minutes. That's the objective. So now let's coming to the general governance. Again, sustainable development requires balancing economic growth with the need to preserve natural resources and protect ecosystems. So these are again key areas that where sustainable development policies are critical. Promoting renewable energy. Guys, we are taking different topics and bringing these key points so that these are revisions for you. You need to remember this. Okay, so promoting renewable energy, transitioning to renewable energy resources such as solar, wind, hydropower. These are essential for reducing, carbon emissions and mitigating climate change, etc. So civil servants play a very key role in promoting policies that are, that incentivize the use of renewable energy. Now, the next one is, sorry, I took a break because of the call. Managing natural resources. See, effective management of natural resources like water, forest, minerals, which is very critical for ensuring long-term sustainability. So if you see, this basically include preventing overexploitation, promoting conservation, and ensuring equitable access to resources, etc. So guys, these things will automatically come to you. Don't worry. It's ultimately the confidence what matters, because you already know these things. Whether it will come to you at that point of time is what the question. So we will have to find a solution, and that we can do, right? So don't worry about that. It's not that you're going to mug up and you're going to deliver it. It will come to you automatically. We have the structure. Don't worry. Let the result come. I can see some chats that how can I remember and tell all these in the spot. This much is not required. Even 20% of what I am telling you, if you can implement, you'll get 180. I'm not talking about 100% of what we are discussing here to implement. You try to implement at least, if you can implement at least 20% of what we are discussing here, then you are in the game. Okay. Now coming to sustainable urban development. See, as cities grow, civil servants must focus on creating sustainable urban development plans that reduce pollution. So manage, waste efficiently, promote the green spaces, etc. So this basically ensures that, urban growth does not lead to environmental degradation. For example, if you're asked about promoting renewable energy in, rural areas, what you can say? The challenge in promoting renewable energy in rural areas is the lack of infrastructure and awareness about the benefits of clean energy. So here what you're doing, identifying the challenge. What's the next step? Analyze the impact. What's the third step? Solution. Fourth step, long-term sustainability. So what is the question? You are asked about promoting renewable energy in rural areas. So what's the challenge here? So talk about that. The challenge in promoting renewable energy in rural area is the lack of infrastructure and awareness about the benefit of clean energy. So firstly, in rural area, you don't have infrastructure. Secondly, the awareness is also a problem. So you identified the challenge, you told that, you set the context. Now everything revolves around, your context only. You set the context. Now you need to answer for this only. Impact of this, solution for this, and sustainable, future for this, what you set. That's why we need to set the context. Then they will look at that only. Got my point? So now impact. This, which means the challenge you discussed. This lead to continued reliance on fossil fuels, which contribute to pollution and climate change. Okay, and now solution. For the solution of the problem you said, okay, not the problem they asked. You said this is a problem, challenge. Okay, now to address this, I would propose government subsidies for solar and wind energy projects, and improving access to financing for rural households, and launching awareness campaigns about the benefits of renewable energy, etc. So that's the solution. Now, long-term sustainability can be ensured by creating policies that support transition to renewable energy and reduce the carbon footprint of rural communities. So that's how you will be discussing this answer. If you want, I can repeat. The question is about, promoting renewable energy in rural area. So challenge, impact, solution, long term. So what is the challenge? Let's answer it. Okay. In that, now you are very clear about each of the sentence. So first I start with the challenge. The challenge is promoting renewable energy in rural area is the lack of infrastructure and awareness about the benefits of clean energy. This lead to continued reliance on fossil fuel, which contribute to pollution and climate change. And to address this, I would propose government subsidies for solar and wind energy projects, improving access to financing for rural households, and launching awareness campaigns about the benefit of renewable energy. Long-term sustainability can be ensured by creating policies that support the transition to renewable energy and reduce the carbon footprint of rural communities. Perfect. In one of my friend's interview, he was actually asked how he will manage the urbanization of a city while ensuring environmental sustainability. I'm taking up multiple examples, the question which asked to me, to my friends. So these are actually giving you the real sense why this area is important, because I'm taking questions which are specific to this area. And that's why this area is incorporated in the syllabus, because it has been asked to multiple people. And I'm taking at least 4 examples from real interview. And I'm giving example, to answer practicing also. Okay, so he was actually asked how he will manage the urbanization of a city while ensuring environmental sustainability. And he explained that, something like he will prioritize the creation of green spaces, or you can think about it. Okay, prioritize the creation of green spaces, promote energy efficient public transportation, implement policies that encourage waste management and pollution control in urban areas. Okay, now moving on. Personal experience. Already discussed this in one of the previous session. But anyway, in this context also, I'll discuss in one of my interview. I was asked about how I will address deforestation in a region where local communities rely on forest for their livelihood. So they are completely relying on forest for their livelihood. I want to address deforestation. So now, first tell me, what are the steps I need to follow? Identify the challenge here, see the impact, and talk about the solution and long-term sustainability. This is what I need to do. So what I did is, I began by identifying the challenge. So explaining that deforestation in the region was driven by economic pressure and a lack of alternative livelihood option for the local communities. So I discussed the problem. Now, then I analyze the impact of deforestation. So explaining that it lead to loss of biodiversity, soil erosion, and reduced access to forest resources for local communities. And then to address this issue, I proposed implementing community-based afforestation program, providing financial incentives for sustainable forestry practices, and promoting alternative livelihood options such as ecotourism, agroforestry, etc. Finally, I also emphasize the importance of long-term sustainability, explaining that afforestation efforts should be designed to benefit both the environment and local economy, ensuring that future generations can continue to rely on the forest resources. So guys, why I am repeating this again and again and again, the same structure with multiple example, it need to be printed in your mind. So any question connected to this, you need to identify the challenge, analyze the impact, propose a solution, sustainable development. Perfect. Now, will it automatically come to you now after attending the session? Yes, that's the objective of the session. Rest we will see in the personal one-to-one sessions. That is the commitment that we have. These sessions are complimentary. Why you paid that fees to me is basically for that one-to-one sessions. Okay. Consider these as complimentary. So try to get whatever you get from this. Okay, now let's conclude. See, sustainable development and environmental governance are very critical topics. So you cannot afford to miss this because, they require balancing economic growth within the protection of, natural resources, ecosystems, etc. So one side you need the growth and development, but at the same time you need to protect the ecosystem. So that's what we are talking about as sustainable development. Now, when answering questions about these topics, you need to make sure to use a structured approach, which we already discussed, because that will address both the environmental challenge and the socio-economic impact. That's what exactly they're looking for. So the structure address everything automatically if you follow that. Now, propose practical solutions and that promote long-term sustainability and ensure that development benefits both the economy and the environment. So guys, stay updated on the environmental policies and practice answering questions about sustainable development in mock interview and refine your method of answering. Keep doing that. Keep practicing with mirrors and your cameras. Keep recording it, and that's how you can improve. So if you want to take an assignment, you can do this and post the video. Choose any environmental governance challenge or from any that we have given. I've discussed many cases, right? You can take any one of that and write down the structure, answer based on the structure which I've given to you. Challenge, impact, solution, long term. Practice it, record it in front of a camera, send to the group. Now it's been, how many days? Almost 30 days. So now if you are still not, doing it, there are many who are doing it, and the seniors who have already attended 2-3 interviews are there to guide you also. And still, if you are not doing that, means, okay, many are saying that I will, so what if I won't clear the mains? Then what's the point in now doing it, right? Then it's up to you. You can do it after the mains, or see, these guys have told you if you don't want to post in the group, you can send them personally and they will guide you also. Right, Simran, I think Simran attended 3 interviews. She messaged in the group, and that's a very good message also. I felt very emotional as well that people are very good and supporting each other. In case if you are not, feeling like sending in the group, you can send personally. Right? Okay. So I'll unmute one by one. We can have the Q&A. Okay. So let me stop recording and then we'll do that.